In this video, we're going to put this curt hitch on this Honda Pilot. It comes with all the hardware and a receiver. The bolts are inside this tape, so you'll need to remove the tape. And all the bolts are right here. We need to lower the spare tire in order to install the hitch. We'll need the tire iron. To pull down the spare tire, there's a latch under here and a bolt down here. When you spin this, it's going to take the spare tire down to the ground. With a 17mm socket, we're going to take this bolt off and take this towing ring off. There's 3 bolts here that need to be removed, so you'll need to tap it off because it's going to be rusty. With a breaker bar and some leverage, break the bolts loose. The nut inside the frame snapped off, so everything is spinning. Using a pipe, I can lever down and put tension on that nut inside the frame. Now I can spin that nut. If I put my finger through this hole right here, I can feel the nut spin. I've got it loose enough that I'll be able to just grind off the head. I ground a lot of the bolt away, so I'll pull it down now. We'll snap off that bolt. We can push it up and out. We'll use a magnet to pull it out. You can see where the weld broke. In a vise, we can remove the bolt. And make sure the nut and bolt move really smooth so when I put it back together, it won't bind. Now it spins into the bolt with no resistance. I'll explain why this bolt broke and how you can avoid it. When you back out the bolt and it starts to seize, you want to turn the bolt the other way and allow the rust to be able to fall out. If that rust continues to bind in that bolt, then it's going to break. In other words, when you're taking the bolt out, when it starts to get really stiff and hard to come out, turn it the other way and just keep moving it back and forth until the bolt is removed. To make sure there's no more surprises, we'll work these into the holes to make sure everything is nice and smooth before we put the hitch on. Add some oil to the bolt. Work the bolts back and forth. Now the bolts just glide in. Cleaning these holes up with a tap will also work. Spin it in until you feel tension and then back it off. Just keep cleaning that rust out. You can pull out the tap from time to time and clean everything out. Use plenty of oil. Take your time with the tap because you don't want to break the tap because it's hardened steel. It'd be hard to get out of the hole. Now we can feel it's all nice and cleaned out. There we go, nice and easy. Now with all the bolts spinning in nice and easy, we'll put the hitch on. We'll put the hitch into place. I'll start at the center of the hitch and bolt it on. We'll wrap a wire around the nut to feed it in through the frame. We'll feed it up into the frame and catch it with the bolt. We'll put the bolt through the hole and bring it over to this other location. Hold that nut into position and catch it with the bolt. This is why we didn't want any resistance on the bolt, so we can just spin it in. Keep everything loose and start the other bolts. Make sure you use anti-seize on the bolts. Put the bolts in on the other side. Just keep everything nice and loose until all the bolts are in. It's nice when the bolts just spin right in. The bolt that I had to put the wire in is tightening up nicely. We can put the receiver in, put the pin in, snap in the pin, spin up the spare tire. That's how you put a hitch on a Honda Pilot.